News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. Less than 24 hours after imposing a new 10% global tariff, President Trump has announced on Truth Social he's boosting that levy to 15%. The president's move is in response to the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling Friday, rejecting his sweeping tariffs. But National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett says Trump was prepared for this outcome.
President Trump told us from the beginning that we had to have a backup plan and a backup plan for the backup plan in case the Supreme Court ruled against his first try of doing it with IEEPA. And so isn't it wonderful to think about how well organized he is, that the same day that we get the Supreme Court ruling, we come out with a backup plan that's just as good.
Hassett on Fox News. Thousands of companies, meantime, have already sued or are getting ready to sue the Trump administration to get refunds for tariffs. But there's still a lot of uncertainty over how this will all shake out economically. Archie Hall's an economics editor at The Economist.
Whether that's done in a smooth and straightforward way, and lots of folks have said there should be a way for this to be done automatically, or whether it involves a huge amount of paperwork and the government tries to make it as hard as possible so they can cling on to those tariff revenues, that remains to be seen.
The federal government could be on the hook for about $170 billion, with major retailers like Costco down to small businesses lining up to get their money back. But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said yesterday this process could take months or even years to play out in courts. Economists are also worrying this could be piling on to a financial problem the Supreme Court just rejected. Diane Swank is chief economist at KPMG.
There's a downside to this in that the new kinds of tariffs that the president can use are not easily turned on and off. And the off part is the important part, is that we're not going to be able to, once they go through the investigations, those ones to replace the ones that were ruled illegal by the Supreme Court are going to be much harder to reverse once they go into place.
Trump's global tariff will be in place for 150 days. After that, the president would need congressional approval for an extension. The oil market is experiencing its strongest start to a year since 2022 due to supply shocks and sanctions, with Brent futures touching a 7-month high of more than $72 a barrel. Traders are now racing to cover themselves against the prospect of the U.S. bombing Iran again. And a U.S. military presence is growing near the country, which is why the United Nations is calling for diplomacy. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric.
We are very concerned about the heightened rhetoric, by the heightened military activities, war games, or just increased military naval presence and in the region.
President Trump says he's considering limited strikes against Iran unless it agrees to a nuclear weapons deal in the next 2 weeks. Ukraine confirms it hit a major missile factory deep inside Russia overnight as Moscow blasted Ukraine with heavy drone attacks. Nearly a dozen people were hurt. The attacks forced Russia to suspend flights at airports in and around the region. Here at home, millions of people along the East Coast are bracing for another winter storm. Bloomberg meteorologist Rob Carolyn's tracking it.
A significant winter storm looks to impact parts of the Northeast for the late part of the weekend into early next week. Blizzard warnings up for the Jersey Shore, New York City, Long Island, and coastal Connecticut. Elsewhere, we're going to see winter storm warnings, though we may see some blizzard warnings go up for Cape Cod, the islands, as well as southeastern Massachusetts. Some areas in southern New England may see over 18 inches of snow, and we could see up to 18 inches of snow across parts of Long Island by the time the storm is winding down late in the afternoon on Monday or Monday evening. I'm Rob Carolyn, Bloomberg Radio.
There's going to be a changing of the guard on Capitol Hill when it comes to who's in charge of the government's purse strings. Bloomberg's Nathan Hager has more from Washington.
Several lawmakers with prime congressional spending slots are headed for the exits. Mitch McConnell gives up the gavel on the Senate Appropriations Defense Subcommittee after this year, and the top Republican seat on the House Defense Subcommittee could be up for grabs as well. Ken Calvert's in a tough re-election fight with fellow Republican Young Kim after his seat was redrawn, and Senator Susan Collins is facing her own tough re-election battle. If she loses, Lisa Murkowski could become the top Republican in the full Senate Appropriations Committee. In Washington, I'm Nathan Hager, Bloomberg Radio.
Team USA made history today. The mixed aerials team, made up of Americans Chris Lillis, Connor Curran, and Kayla Kuhn, won the U.S.'s 11th gold medal at the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics today. That's a record for the entire team at any Winter Olympics and boosts their overall medal count to 31. Team USA now second behind Norway on the medal table. Norway has 40 total medals, including 18 gold. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.